Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your reading. We are just going to jump right in because I'm seeing that there is a connection where either you guys are not in communication or the communication that is happening is very argumentative. There's a lot of, we have the Five of Swords and the Five of Wands out representing actual arguments. I hope that there are no physical altercations, but this is very much talking about a lot of conflict. So let's get into it, Virgo. We're going to take a look at you and this person that you're dealing with. I will pull on a likely outcome and then some advice, and then we'll wrap it up. So let's get into it, Virgo. The way that you were viewing this person that you were dealing with is where the Five of Swords is represented here. So again, lots of arguments, general conflict and disagreements. You could view them as being particularly cold, or like saying things, taking cheap shots is what I want to say. Saying things that they know will hurt you. They, really just know how to kind of get you to that place of reactivity. I'm seeing. And maybe you are noticing more of this in this person lately. I don't know if this is maybe like an aspect of their personality that is new. I feel like this is the kind of thing where, like, when you guys are on good terms, they use their wit and like humor in that way that really is entertaining for you. But it's like when you get into arguments, there seems to not be a limit. You know what I mean? Like there isn't, like, I think you would want them to kind of regard you in a different way and not turn that on you. Like if they just talk shit jokingly, you know what I mean, kind of about things or people, and it's like, but when you guys aren't in a good place, they also do that to you. There's no, like, I think you would view that as like a sacred thing. Like you don't want to speak negatively about them, but they do it and it hurts you a lot. So maybe that's something that you're kind of seeing in a different light now, or it's just something that's being emphasized a lot. The kind of like verbal jabs. The way that they're viewing you currently is someone that they kind of have to defend themselves against. They have to justify their point in some way. They could also be viewing you like it's almost like um someone approaching a kind of like puzzle board, and they are like very careful about what buttons they're pressing, because they're kind of like scared of whatever response there will be. And so it's interesting because, and it's received in different ways. I'm seeing like the way that they're kind of communicating to you is like very hurtful. But it's in a similar way, like they are afraid of your responses. So this almost feels like someone who kind of says the mean thing first. Like this is kind of like the thought of like, well, I'll get them before they get me. There's that defensiveness where there's just a kind of lack of feeling safe. So they're absolutely projecting like the fear, the fear that they're expecting from you, not the fear, excuse me, the pain that they're expecting to receive from you, like they're putting that out before they even receive it, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of like on equal sides, um a defensiveness and like a fear kind of what the other person can say that will cause harm. What you were wanting from the relationship, Virgo, is I'm seeing like clear commitment and like decisiveness. I don't know exactly what the indecision is. I didn't go deeper into that. If there's another party involved, I'm not seeing any other indication of that necessarily here. um Although this feels kind of like, let me just clarify that, because I would be very annoyed if someone said that and then didn't clarify proof. So let me just get that clarification for you, Virgo. Okay. I do not see another person being involved. This more just feels like whether or not the relationship will continue, or whether or not you guys will go your separate ways as individuals. Okay. So this is just about that. Like you want someone who is maybe deciding this. This also feels like this could also be just like you want someone to commit, like whether or not the relationship has ever been official in that way and has had like the title of relationship. Um, it's something like that, but you just want someone to be like, make a choice. I get that there's like conflict and there are other things going on, but it's like, do you want to be with me or do you not? That's kind of what's going on. So you'd want that clarity. I think you also are just wanting a new start in the relationship. This is like, if we're going to do this, then let's do it, and let's stop with all of the kind of tallying of like, well, when you did this and you did that, and well, you did this, so I did that. Well, it's because you know what I mean? That kind of thing. You're just like, look, if we're gonna do it, can we just not do that? Let's start over. Let's have this relationship, right? What this other person is wanting is, and again, this is for people that are in separation. This is like they want a return. This is if you guys have already walked away from one another, they're wanting a return. They're wanting a clearer kind of resolution to the conflict. This is where the other conflict five is coming in, the five of wands, where it talks about fights and things like that. I think that because the relationship gets so like tumultuous, it's like there's a necessary like separation that happens where it's like you guys are like have to cool down away from one another. They would like to be able to like resolve things with you and not have to like go. I feel like you guys both kind of like go off on your own and you know, do whatever you have to do and the types of reflections that you do. And then you'll come back with like those realizations that you had and converse with one another and realize that you guys had a lot of the same um realizations, and it's like they would prefer to be able to do that with you. They would like to not have to be driven so far where it's like, okay, I have to step away from this because the things that are being said, possibly if right, if this is physical, actual like physical conflict, it's like I need to step away because things are getting so escalated. They would like that to change. Where you believe this relationship is going, Virgo, is not clear. There's like, I think that there are days where you're like, you want it and you're fully on board and you're willing to do whatever, and there are other days where you're like, I'm done with this and fuck this and you, and like, you know what I mean? So there's lots of back and forth. I think there are a lot of things, Virgo, that you would require of your partner, and like expectations and clearer boundaries and things like that to move forward. You would need a lot more clarity than is currently being offered to you right now, Virgo. Where your partner believes, or where this other person believes that this relationship is going, they are a lot more optimistic, but in a very naive kind of way, to be just completely blunt with you. This is like someone who is not fully aware of the kinds of the amount of dedication, honestly, that a relationship requires. This is someone who I think has a much more, again, just childlike view of relationships. I think this is someone that thinks that two people are just like naturally, if you're meant to be together, everything will always be perfect all the time, and that's just not the reality of dealing with humans. You know what I mean? And so this is like someone who has a very child naive, ignorant, in a non-judgmental way of relationships and how, you know, being in a partnership works in that way. This is someone that I think wants things to be a lot easier than they are, and it's like, you know, it takes a certain amount of work and dedication to a person to truly have a healthy, sustainable kind of relationship. Okay. um the most likely outcome, I do see resolution here. The thing about this, what's interesting is there are a couple of nods. I'm just getting the feeling that and I've got this in the past couple of readings, that there are a lot of relationships that are tied to people's childhoods, whether like this is a childhood sweetheart kind of a thing, or just someone that has been, you know, you've been with this person for a long time, or perhaps even like you have children between you. But there's something about this connection that feels rooted to that kind of sentiment, where it's like it's something that is so valued and nurtured because it brings about those kinds of feelings. Whether or not this is actually someone that you have known since like childhood or not, it brings about those kinds of feelings and like home and things like that. So and I feel like that sense is what is so strong, and possibly that is what, you know, brings you guys back together every time. It's like there is just that underlying feeling of this person is so familiar in like home. So the most likely outcome is, I'm seeing there needs to be, you know, greater communication about reciprocity, about where each of you feel unsupported and unheard, so that the other, and like real tangible things. Don't just be like, you never listened to me. Bring receipts, but don't do so in a way that is like, again, the kind of tallying, like I was saying at the beginning of the reading, where it's like, well, you did this and I did that. Be like, hey, on such and such a day, like when this happened and I said this and you said this, I know you didn't mean it this way, but like it made me feel this. And have those kinds of conversations. It's important that two, like, you're clear of when you're having that conversation, or if your partner comes to you with that kind of a thing, that you don't do the tallying. Like, if someone tells you that what you said on Tuesday made them feel really bad, you can't be like, well, I said that because what you said on Friday, that is not the time. That's not what we're talking about. I wish you would have brought that to me. You know what I mean? On Friday or Saturday or Sunday or Monday, before I'm bringing this thing up. You know what I mean? And what happened on Tuesday, whatever, whatever, whatever. But just make sure that you guys are giving each other the space and the respect to express yourselves, without getting defensive, and allowing the other person to fully express themselves. And this is something that takes work, and maybe you're not familiar with communicating in this way, and that's okay. But I see you guys doing that work, to help the other person, not help the other person, but to help make the other person feel more supported and more heard. I think you guys also will be having conversations around what truly makes you guys feel fulfilled, and kind of where the relationship is going, because I think in general you guys share like a goal about what you kind of want life to look like, but I think there are some details when it comes to truly like what makes you happy, that need to be discussed. And I think these are things that people just take for granted, that, like, I don't know, I'm getting like these are just mundane things where it's like, I'm hearing someone say, well, we never do things that I like to do. And someone else is like, what do you mean? Like, we go on a walk in the evenings, and like, you love to do whatever. It's like, I'm hearing someone be like, well, I do X, Y, and Z because I know that you like that. And you're like, well, I do like that, but that's not like what I mean. And so it's like those kinds of conversations. I think both of you think that you're doing more for the other person than what the other person is able to receive, because there are some other places that are kind of lacking, if that is making sense. And then the advice is just to, I'm getting there's been like a degree of, and again, I think it's just, I'm hearing like being taken for granted. I think like the way that you guys think about certain things or perceive certain things are just being taken for granted. And I think even the relationship, if someone here feels like they're bored in some way, or like, we don't do anything new, there's nothing exciting happening, that kind of, if that at all is like resonating, like, sit down and kind of truly allow yourself, maybe write about it, like, write about the things that excite you about your partner, things that you used to do, or things that would excite you. Like, just get more clear. I'm getting there needs to be a little bit of um I'm just getting like someone that's like going through like old files, but it's like, I think there needs to be a kind of a reflection period of like why you guys are even together, what drew you to them, so that you can have a greater appreciation for the relationship and for the partnership, if this is something that you want to continue, of course. Which, again, if you made it to this point, this is the outcome that I'm seeing. So if that is in alignment with how you're feeling, I would seriously sit down and kind of go over the relationship again, and kind of revisit those moments that really inspired you to want to be with this person in the first place, and see if those feelings still ring true and are still strong enough that you want to do something about it. I don't think that this reading needs an oracle, to be completely honest with you, Virgo. But let's pull one just for fun, and then I will let you guys go. I appreciate you guys being here. We are doing all of the signs. Year number 6, so we are halfway through now. All of them will be up by Saturday. I just got this card. Who had this card? It was one of the readings from yesterday, so it had to be either Leo or Cancer. It says practice curiosity. I know I got that one yesterday. Because it's a cute little picture of a fox. It says, in painful times, in happy times, in sad, confusing, and lonely times, choose curiosity over judgment. When you judge a situation, you shrink to fit the proportions of criticism. When you remain curious about what's happening and why, what the motives are, and what the hidden factors may be, you open a space for peace and possibility. Judgment is a prison. Curiosity is an adventure. Now is the time to choose the attitude that will create the most freedom and space for you to move forward. All right, Virgo. That is all I have for you today, my dears, my dolls. I hope that it helped. If it did resonate and you want to let me know, and you want to drop a like or a comment, I do love hearing from you guys, and it does really help me out. If you want to be notified next time I post a video, you can go ahead and subscribe and hit that little notification bell, and they'll let you know. I hope to see you guys next time. Thanks so much for being here. Bye.